Okay, Baruch Shechianu v'kimanu v'gyanu l'azman hazeh to the start of Masechet Shavuos. We do not yet have a sponsor. We're looking for sponsors, 718-916-3100, rmmwsi@aol.com. Says the Heilige Gemara, Shavuos shtayim shein arba. When it comes to Shavuos, there are two prohibited categories that are openly stated in the Torah, and they are, when analyzed further, they are for...
I'll sponsor.
Oh, A.B. Spry is sponsoring Shavuos. For what, A.B.?
I'll let you know, Rick.
Okay, it's going to be a surprise. So we thank A.B. for being our sponsor for Masechet Shavuos. So Shavuos Shtayim Shein Arba. You see, the Torah tells us that you're not allowed to swear in the future, lahara or lahetiv. Now, when it says to do bad or to do good, it doesn't really mean to do something evil. It means, lahara means negative, and lahetiv means positive. So therefore, if Mark said, Shvua sha'oichel, I swear that I eat, that would be lahetiv. If he says, I swear that I won't eat, that's lahara. So the shtayim is the shvua in the negative and the positive in the future. Shein arba, which includes another two, that means if you swear about the past, if Mark swore that I didn't eat or that I ate. So that's another two types of shvua. Yediyas hatuma, awareness of tuma. Shtayim shein arba. They are two which become four. Now this is talking about where, let's say, Marshall eats. Let's say Marshall becomes tamei, and he forgets that he's tamei, and he enters the mikdash, or he eats kachim. So those are two isurei karis. If he does it because he forgot that he was tamei, he brings what's called a karban ola v'yored, a sliding scale carbon, which means if he's rich, he brings an animal. If he's poor, he brings bird offerings. If he's very poor, he brings a meal offering. So it says shtayim. The shtayim is where Marshall forgot he was tamei and entered into the mikdash or ate kachim. Shein arba, the next two, is where he knew he was tamei, but he forgot that this item was kachim, or he forgot this was the makam hamikdash. So there also he would have to bring a carbon. So that's shtayim shein arba. Yitzias haShabbos, for doing haitzah on Shabbos, shtayim. Now the normal classic example of haitzah is carrying into Moshe Rabbeinu, bringing into Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was Machan Leviyah, so that's a Rishus HaRabim, where everybody came. So bringing from the Rishus HaYachid into the Rishus HaRabim, which is Haitzah, is Shtayim. There's two ways to do that. Either the person outside sticks his hand inside, makes an akira from inside and hanacha outside. That's one case of Haitzah. The other case of Haitzah is the person inside takes the item from inside, sticks it outside, and puts it down outside. That's the second case of Haitzah. But besides the two cases of Haitzah, it's Shtayim Shein Arba, because there's also two cases of Hachnosa, of bringing it from the Rishus HaRabim into the Rishus HaYachid. Either the person that's standing outside, Marshall, takes it from outside and puts it inside. That's the first case of Akmasa. Or Mark, who's inside, takes his hand out and brings something in. That's another case of Aknasa. Both of those, so that's Shtayim Shein Arba, two cases of Haitzah and two cases of Aknasa. And finally, Maris Negoim Shnayim Shein Arba, appearances of leprosy, this week's Parsha, are two which are four. There are two types of leprosy, se'es and baheres, the two types of white spots, and it says sapachas, that means that each one has a derivative. So there's se'es and its tolda, that's two types of white, and baheres and its tolda, that's another two types of white. In total, there are 4 appearances of leprosy. Now we're going to first explain Yedias HaTumah. The Gemara is going to ask, why do we explain first Yedias HaTumah? We started with Shavuos, so let's explain Shavuos first, or explain that which we ended off with first, the leprosy, but it decides to explain the second item in the list. And it talks about, remember, Marshall forgetting that he was Tameh and entering into the Mikdash or eating kachim. So the Gemara says, when it comes to Yedias HaTumah, there are 3 stages. There is initial awareness that he was Tameh. There is when he does the actual crime. And then there's the realization of the crime. So there's 3 stages. There's becoming aware that he touched the sheretz and he became Tameh. Or he touched the mace and he became Tameh. Then there's, did he know about it when he actually entered in the Mikdash or he ate kachim? And then, when did he become aware about it afterwards? So, the Mishnah now says, depending on depending on the state of his awareness, it depends what is going to bring his atonement. So the Mishnah explains, Marshall was aware that he touched the sheretz. Then afterwards, he was aware that he entered the Mikdash and he ate kachim while he was tameh. But v'helem bein time, when he actually entered into the Mikdash or ate the kachim, he was unaware. He forgot about it. So he touched the sheretz, he forgot about it, he ate kachim, and he entered into the Mikdash. And then afterwards he said, "Oy vey, I was tameh." That's the classic case when he has to bring the carbon oil of Yared, the sliding scale, carbon depending about how rich or poor he is. If he was initially aware that he touched the sheretz, but then he got involved in hockey, he forgot all about it, he entered the Mikdash, he ate kachim, and he never remembered again that he was tameh. So yesh ba yediyah b'tchila, he was initially aware of it, but be'ein ba yediyah b'seif, but he never remembered. He never connected the dots. Oh yeah, I was tameh when I entered into the Mikdash. So there, Sora Nasa B'fnim. Remember, there's 2 twin goats. We bring one, the Sor La Hashem. The Sor that's blood is applied in the Kodesh Kodashim and against the Paraychas and on the Mizbeach Hazav. The Yom HaKippurim and the very atonement of Yom Kippur Toila suspends it that he shouldn't be punished. Ad sheyavadalai, until it becomes known to him. Oh yeah, I ate it while I was tameh, and then v'yavi ba'il of yared. Then he'll bring an oil of yared. What about if he didn't know he touched the sheretz in the beginning? Ein ba yediyah b'tchila. Now it happens to be he entered the Mikdash and he ate kachim, and then somebody said, "Hey Marshall, you know you touched the sheretz. I saw you touch a sheretz, and then you went into the Mikdash, or you ate kachim." So ein ba yediyah b'tchila, he didn't know in the beginning. Aval yesh ba yediyah b'seif, but he found out at the end. Now once he didn't know in the beginning, he's not chayav a carbon. So there, sar anasa b'chutz. This is the sar. There are 3 seirim on Yom Kippur. There's a sar in the Kodesh Kodashim. There's a sar that's offered by thrown off Azazel, and then there's a sar that's offered on the Mizbeach HaChitzon, which is the Seir Musafin of Yom Kippur. The sar anasa b'chutz, the sar that's done on the outside, v'yom HaKippurim mechaper. Shenema milvad chatas HaKippurim, the sar that we bring by Musaf, besides the soyer that we offer in the Kodesh Kodashim, al mashe zeh mechaper, on a type of sin that the one in the Kodesh Kodashim is mechaper, so also the Mesafin is also mechaper. Ma pnimi ein mechaper al davar sheyesh ba yediyah, just like the inner one is only mechaper for something that has yediyah, right? We said if there was a yediyah betchila and there's no yediyah at the end, afachitza neinu mechaper al davar sheyesh ba yediyah, where there was no yediyah in the beginning and there was a yediyah at the end. Now, what about if he's blissfully unaware of anything? You know, Marshall's normal, default position, I know nothing. And
Sergeant Schultze, we know nothing.
All right, I know nothing. If he doesn't have awareness, he didn't know, he became Tameh, he's unaware. Now that he's Tameh, he's blissfully unaware that he did a terrible thing eating kachim or entering the mikdash when he was Tameh. There, Seirei Arigalim, the Musafim, that the he-goats that are offered up on Yom Tov, the Seirei Reish Chadashim, Mechaper. And the soy that's offered on Reish Chodesh is Mechaper. Dib Rabbi Yehuda. That's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Reb Shimon says, Sirei Arigalim Mechaper, the soyer of the Musaf of the Shalosh Regalim is Mechaper, Avalo Sirei Rosh Chodashim, but not the soyer of Rosh Chodesh. So then what does the soyer of Rosh Chodesh come to be Mechaper? Va'al Ma Sirei Rosh Chodashim Mechaper, oh, Alator She'achal Esatami. That's another thing. That's where Marshall is tar, but he eats kachim b'tumah. So where Marshall is tar and he eats kachim b'tumah, there the sar of Reish Chodesh is mechaper. That's the position of the Tanakama of the Mishnah. Rameir says no. Kala seirim kaparas and shavin. All the seirim, the sar anasa b'chutz on Yom Kippur, the sar of the galim, the sar of Reish Chodesh, their kapara is all the same. Al tumish mikdash u'kedoshiv. It all is mechaper for sins of tumah and then eating kachim or entering in the mikdash. Hayir Reb Shimon Aimer, Reb Shimon said as follows: Sirei Rashi Chodashim. This is a review of what we said earlier. Reb Shimon Aimer, Sirei Rashi Chodashim. Let's review it. The Sar of Reish Chodesh, the Musaf of Reish Chodesh is Mechaprim ala tar she'achal esatame. When Marshall is tar and he eats kachim that's tameh, that's the Sar Reish Chodesh. V'shel regalim and the Musafim of the Yom Tovim Mechaprim, where Marshall was blissfully unaware of anything. Al she'en bo yediyah lo b'tchila v'lo b'seif. He never knew that he was tameh. V'shel Yom HaKippurim and the Sar Nasa B'chutz and Yom Kippur is Mischaper al she'en bo yediyah b'tchila, where he was unaware in the beginning. Aval yesh bo yediyah b'seif, and he found out somebody told him at the end. Amru Lai, so they said to Reb Shimon, so tell me, Reb Shimon, Amru Lai, Ma'u she'yikru v'zeh b'zeh. Let's say you lost the Sar of the Musaf of Yom Kippur, and you found it on Yom Tov. Could you use that goat for the Musaf on Yom Tov? Amalem Yikravu. He said, yeah, you could. Amalei, they said, but each one is offered for a different kapara. Amalei Hayov ain't kaparas and shava. Since their kapara is not the same, hey craven zebazeh, how could you offer one for the other? Amalahan, so he says it's enough that it's the broad common denominator that they're all mechaper for tumas mikdash u'kedosh. Amalem kulan ba'in lechaper al tumas mikdash u'kedosh. Now comes along Reb Shimon ben Yehuda. Now remember, Stam Reb Shimon is Reb Shimon ben Yochai. Stam Reb Shimon in Shas is Reb Shimon ben Yochai. It's good to know that Reb Shimon ben Yochai is mentioned 2,000 times in Shas. So 2,711 blat, and he's mentioned. Stam Reb Shimon is Reb Shimon ben Yochai.
I have more mentions. Eighty Dummy is mentioned a lot more.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Here he's in the popularity contest for Shimon Bar Yochai, huh?
Actually, with Bozo. So says the Gemara, Reb Shimon ben Yehuda Aimer Mishmai. Reb Shimon ben Yehuda says in the name Reb Shimon Bar Yochai a little differently. He says that each successive musaf is more inclusive. And it starts with the least one. Seirei Rashi Chadashim, the Sar Rosh Chodesh is mechapen just ala tar shachal esatam. Just if Marshall is tar and he eats tamei dekakachim. Moisef aleim shel regalim, the Sar of the Musafin of the Yom Tovim, shemechapen al tar shachal esatam, for tar that eats kachim, that's tamei, and al she'em bo yediyah loy betchila v'loy b'seif, where Marshall was blissfully unaware that he was tamei and entered in mikdash or ate kachim. Moisef aleim shel yom kippurim, we add the sar hanasa b'chutz she'mechapen on all three, al atar shachal esatamei, v'al she'em bo yediyah loy betchila v'loy b'seif, and v'al she'em bo yediyah betchila, he was unaware in the beginning, but somebody told him afterwards, aval yesh bo yediyah b'seif. So Amrullah, so they asked him, Ma'ashi Yikrivu Zebezeh, if one of them gets lost, let's say the Sar of Yom Tov gets lost, can you bring it on Rosh Chodesh? Amrullah and Hain. Amrullah, Im Kain, if, according to you, you shall Yom HaKippurim Kravim Rashi Chadashim, it's Pashit, that if you lose the Sar of Yom Kippur, you could bring it on Rosh Chodesh, because the Sar of Yom Kippur also covered a tar that eats tamei. Aval heich shel Rosh Chodesh krevim Yom Kippurim. But if you lost the sar of Rosh Chodesh, how can you offer it up on Yom Kippur? The sar of Rosh Chodesh is only mechaper on a tar that eats Kodesh, while the sar of Yom Kippurim is mechaper for three things: tar that eats tamei, and she'ein bo yediyah loy betchila v'lo b'seif, ve'she'ein bo yediyah betchila v'yesh bo yediyah b'seif. How could it be Yom Kippurim lechaper kapara she'ein shalah? The Sar of Rosh Chodesh only covers one, the tar that eats kachim tameim. Amalahan, so he says it's enough that kulan ban lechaper al tumas mikdash kedoshim. They are all for the class of a tumah that regards eating kachim and entering in the mikdash, and that's enough. Now let's say, knowing Marshall, that he has this dastardly streak. Let's say he did it on purpose. He was tamei and he entered the mikdash, or he ate kachim. V'alzdain tumas mikdash u'kedoshiv, sar anasa b'fnim v'yom ha'kippurim mechaper. The sar that's offered on the inside, in the Kodesh Kedoshim and against the paraychas, and on the Mizbeach Hazav, and Yom Kippur is mechaper. What about the other stuff that Marshall does on purpose? That is very exciting, Rabbi say. I told you this many times. We don't have a Beis Hamikdash today. And therefore, we don't have the ability to bring karbanos. But it says, Zayis Torah asa oila. Whoever learns about an oila, it's as if he offered an oila. Zayis Torah is chatas. Whoever learns about a chatas, it's as if he brought a chatas. The Rambam says, and Ramila would quote this, the Rambam says that there's very few things that are mechaper without tshuva. But the sar la'azazel is mechaper without tshuva. The idea of the sar la'azazel being mechaper without tshuva, I know that Mark gets very edgy because he says that, there's no free rides in this world. He gets very edgy. He says, why should it be? So Rav Miller explained that the sar represents Esav. Sar means hair. So it represents the hairy one, Esav. And there's a lot of things that we do today that is only because of the influence of the guy. It's not our fault. So we say, Hashem, if you push the influence of the guy off the cliff and get rid of it, nobody would say a word of nivel peh if they didn't hear Goyim say it. Right? No Jewish child would do the things that they do, put piercings in their tongue, if they weren't influenced by the Goyim. If you push away that influence that is thrust upon us because we're in exile, we're in Galus, then we would be free of these crimes. So the Gemara says, getting back to Marshall, Al Shara Averis Shebetayr, the other Averis that Marshall does, Hakalois, lenient things, like not saying Kriya Shema at the right time, Vachamurais, swearing in the shop with all kinds of things, Hasdainais, that he does willfully, Vashkagais, unwittingly, Haida, that he's aware of, V'loyhaida, that he's not aware of, Asay v'loisasay, positive commandments, negative commandments, Krisay, Zemisas, Bezdin, things of chorus and capital punishment, Sora mishtaleach mechaper. The soil that's cast off the cliff is mechaper. It's an awesome thing. Awesome thing. Let's lap this up. Now, the Tanakama over here holds Echad Yisraelim. This is true for Yisraelim, V'echad Kahanim, V'echad Kayin Meshuach. It's true for the Kayin. It's true for the anointed Kayin. They all get a kapara from the Sar Mishtaleach. Ma bein Yisraelim l'Kahanim l'Kayin Meshuach. What's the difference between the Yisrael and the Kayin and the Kayin Meshuach? El Shapar, the bull that the bull that Aaron HaKohen brought, the Parashal Yom Kippurim, mechaper ala kahanim al tumas mikdash u'kedashim. The sawyer was mechaper on the Yisraelim for tumas mikdash u'kedashim. The par was mechaper for the kahan. Reb Shimon says no. Reb Shimon says that the par, first he says, Kishem shedam ha-sawyer hanasa b'fnim. Just like the blood of the sawyer that was done on the inside, mechaper al Yisrael, is mechaper for Klal Yisrael on Tumas Mikdash Kedashim, and it's mechaper without vidui, because the dam ha-sawyer did not have vidui. Kak dam ha-par mechaper al kahanim for Tumas Mikdash Kedashim, and that you didn't need vidui. So why did Aaron do vidui on the par? That's to cover the other sins of the Kahan. Kishem sheviduya shel sar mishtaleach. Just like the vidui of the sar mishtaleach is mechaper al Yisrael. It's mechaper for Klal Yisrael for the rest of their sins, for the asay, lois asay, krisis, Mrs. Bezdin, zodan, shageg, hoida, loy hoida, kach viduyev shel par, the vidui on the Parashal Yom Kippurim is mechaper ala kehanim. Now, Rabbi say, again, we want to thank A.B. Spry for being our first sponsor. Anybody else that wants to be a partial sponsor or a sponsor of Shavuos, please text me. Also, we're going to do now Mishnah Yomis, and we want to remind you, and please, if you could let me know, because, Gedalia is preparing a nice spread. It would be nice if people could come and be freilich with us and be mechazik the olam. So just text me to let me know that you're coming. 5:45 tomorrow at One Valley Stream Lane. 5:45, a gala siyum on Masechtas Sanhedrin and Masechtas Makis. So we hope you're going to come and join us, and please let me know. And now we're going to do the Mishnah Yomis.
What was the third part for?
Thank you, Rabbi Weiss.
Now we're going to do the Mishnah Yomis. You're very welcome. Hold on.